Alrighty, well, hello, Peter and Toby. Again, thank you for joining me today to talk about Becca's experience. Becca graduated last spring from the GLC program and is now back with you guys in the Ohio area and is prospering from everything I've heard from her. So I just wanted to follow up with you guys and talk more about your experience and Becca's experience with the college internship program.
Okay.
Yes. So again, welcome. The first question, I guess, is how would you briefly summarize your whole experience or Becca's experience?
Well, it was life-changing for all three of us, I'd say. Without CIP, I don't think that she would be realizing her current success. And we certainly wouldn't have the independent daughter that we have, or the independent parenting that we're enjoying.
Yeah, that's
sure. I mean, that CIP made all the difference. Rebecca is independent. She is confident.
She's happy.
She's happy. And not only that, she has the tools to not only survive in the world as a young adult on the spectrum, but really to thrive. And I think a large part of that is because of the tools that CIP gave her and, brought her along. Every year she added to her, her repertoire and her inventory of how to deal with the world. So it wasn't a one time, it was an evolution. And from beginning to end, she advanced every year that she was in the program.
Yeah, and we're so appreciative of the extraordinary staff that she benefited from over those 8 years. The kindness and the humanity, the knowledge of when to push and when to pull, it gave us as parents the confidence to let go and to let her soar and let her become her own person. Because when you have a child that needs protecting, it's very difficult to cut those apron strings. And we really felt that we had confidence in the staff, and we knew that she'd be okay. And she is way more than okay.
That was very beautifully put. And it just, even for my short time with her, that definitely felt like exactly the same thing, that journey of watching her arc and just keep growing and then just taking off and taking everything and really then applying it. So yeah, thank you guys. That's so beautiful. Again, what were some of the biggest dynamics or challenges that you saw Becca overcome in her time here?
Gosh, I mean, I think one of her first goals was to eat more vegetables. One of her last goals was, I think, can finish her master's program and, evolve her relationship. And I mean, they were normal goals for a 26-year-old person. So
I think that she started out being very rigid and very much internally focused. And what CIP did was taught her how to look outward and to understand how she sat in the world and be able to make adjustments and be able to recognize her challenges, and then had to give her the tools to deal with it, whether it was dealing with crowds or dealing with an uncomfortable situation. She didn't just withdraw into her world, but she learned how to adapt and to be part of the broader world. So I think that was a real thing that changed with her. And it took a while, but then once it happened, it allowed her really to expand her horizons.
And I think that the ability to label situations really helped her. It helped her with her self-advocacy because she had the language, but it also helped her to figure out how to apply the tools that you taught her. Perfect example is she was at her boyfriend's house having dinner, and she came home and we said, "Hey, how was it? Did you have a nice evening?" And she said, "Yeah, I social faked beautifully."
No.
So there you are.
I love that. Yes, she is one of the masters at the social fake and the feedback sandwich, which we just talked about recently, and how well she applies the feedback sandwich in times of conflict. She mastered that for sure. I mean, other than that, the last question, and we're almost done, is just, would you recommend CIP to other families?
Wholeheartedly.
I mean, we not only would, but we have a number of times of people, because I mean, CIP really fills a role that unfortunately in our society is really hard to come by, which is, the schools, secondary schools, elementary schools, are recognizing people on the spectrum, kids on the spectrum, and are dealing with them, either, some better than others, but at least deal with it. But once the kids leave high school, there really aren't the programs to help them make that adjustment, either into the working world, or in our case, and Rebecca really wanted to get her college degree and deal with that. And CIP really filled that role beautifully. Unfortunately, it's only for people who can afford it and get into the program, but it's not enough really for these kids just to get through high school and then be left to fend for themselves. They really need more on how to be an adult, how to transition, and CIP really does that. So we've recommended it a number of times to people who are in that range of what do you do next.
Right, and it's not just the person interacting with the outside world. The changes that we've seen in Rebecca internally are just beautiful, actually. She understands who she is. She appreciates her gifts. She recognizes challenges, but she takes them in stride. And that's because of CIP, definitely.
Wow, goosebumps. I was just thinking about Becca in general. She has an amazing young lady that you guys raised, and we are very, very, very happy to have been a part of her journey to her adulthood.
Village, right?
We're very pleased. We're big fans of CIP, and glad that we found it and that she was able to thrive and be involved for as many years as she was, and she's now reaping the benefits of that. So.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys very much for joining me today, and I can't wait to hear more about Becca as she keeps on adulting.